This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Today, an autopsy is scheduled for a baby who died after being found inside an SUV. What police say right now about the baby's death.
Plus, a family pet becoming an actual lifesaver. How dogs are being trained to give people who suffer from seizures a more normal life.
And the Indy 500 field is set. 33 drivers now a week away from the greatest spectacle in racing. The drama on bump day and who came up short this year. Thanks for watching Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen is here. And Todd, we were just commenting on the 7-day. We got a little bit of everything, some heat, some rain.
Yeah.
So take it away.
You know, we're going in, once we get past today and tomorrow, we get into a very, very summer-like pattern here with the heat and humidity, and you know what comes with that, the chance of storms. So yeah, there are some storms in the forecast, most definitely going forward. Today is not one of those days, though. A brief break from the rain. Yesterday, we had all those thunderstorms roll through central Indiana during the afternoon and evening hours. So this morning, you need the sunglasses and grab the jacket as well, as temperatures are currently in the 50s in most locations, I should say. Some locations down into the 40s. So Storm Team 6 radar is nice and quiet for us. There's a little bit of cloud cover, especially as you work your way to the north across the area. So we'll call it just partly cloudy this morning, but skies were crystal clear in Indianapolis as I drove in here this morning. Here's what's left of the storms. They'll fire back up, though, again later on this afternoon once the sun comes up off to the east coast. So make sure you check with your airline if you're heading in that direction. But here are those temperatures dipping down to 52 right now in Lafayette, 56 in Bloomington, a pair of Nichols in Rushville, Greensburg at 59 degrees. So today, we'll essentially just call it partly cloudy. We'll start off mostly sunny, then partly cloudy this afternoon. Notice the temperatures, though. We're only in the low to mid 60s. It's a cooler day for us. It's below normal. But again, by the end of the week, we're near 90 degrees. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. But at 5:02, let's get you updated on the roads. Here's Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Not too much happening right now. Just some overnight road work. Those northbound lanes of I-65 are closed between 465 and the south split, as well as from the south split up to the north split. So to get around it, what you can always do, head westbound 465 to eastbound I-70 downtown, or go all the way up to northbound or southbound I-65 from I-465. So keep that in mind if it's part of your drive. They should reopen for about 6 o'clock this morning. Let's take a look at the roads right now. Here's a look at I-65 at West Street. Everything's moving along just fine. Should be an easy drive for your morning commute.
Elena, thank you. Today, an autopsy is scheduled for a baby who was found dead in an SUV on the east side over the weekend.
The investigation started on Saturday. Police responded to an AutoZone on East Washington Street, and that is where they found a 1-year-old girl in the car who was unresponsive. The baby was taken to Riley Hospital but pronounced dead. It is still unclear how long the baby had been in the car or if weather played any factors. The child's mother was taken in for questioning, but so far no charges have been filed in the case.
An Indianapolis man is frustrated after his motorcycle was stolen right out of his driveway. The thieves caught on camera. This is video from around 4 a.m. Sunday on the southwest side. Victor Williams Jr. says he had been riding the bike and fell asleep inside of his home before getting it back inside his garage. He's upset that the brazen thief and about the theft, and now his neighbors are making security changes.
Before I didn't lock up, I was just kind of, now it's just, I guess, lock up, just make sure, just be a little more cautious because things are happening now. It's warm out.
Do you feel bad for your neighbor if something like that?
I completely do. I mean, he does work hard for his money, and next thing you know, they just come up and roll his motorcycle out like it's nothing.
Williams and detectives are asking for the public's help. If you recognize the suspects, give police a call.
A 19-year-old Muncie man is behind bars this morning, facing charges in a shooting that injured 7 people near Ball State's campus. The shooting happened at a house party early Saturday morning along West Euclid Avenue. Police say the suspect, Vashon Harnett, told them a fight broke out at the party, and that's when he started firing. After the shooting, the suspect told police he put his gun back in his car and called 911. Formal charges have not been filed yet, but Harnett was arrested on attempted murder charges. 2 of the 7 victims are still in the hospital in critical condition.
A new study shows that dogs can smell when a person is having an epileptic seizure. A local organization here in Indianapolis has been training rescue dogs as seizure alert animals for years, but now they have the scientific evidence to back it up. Our Alyssa Donovan talked to one woman whose dog was trained to alert her to when she is about to have a seizure. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning. And she said this has changed her life. Now, there are about 40 different kinds of epileptic seizures a person can have, and 24-year-old Olivia Enemaker has almost all 40. Now, it's prevented her from driving a car, from holding down a job, and moving out and living on her own. But since she's gotten Dublin and trained him at Medical Mutts here in Indianapolis, that has changed. Dublin is now trained to alert Enemaker before she has a seizure so that she can get to a safe place, whether that's sitting down while she's at work or pulling over while she's driving her car. Dublin does this by hitting her in the leg with his snout. Medical Mutts conducted this study that proves dogs can recognize scent emitted when someone is about to have a seizure. Enemaker says Dublin alerts her about a minute before her seizure starts.
I've noticed when I have my convulsive seizures, he'll poke and he'll bark to just kind of let people know that something's about to happen, and that means get me to a safe place, like sit down somewhere safe.
Now, it takes about 6 months for Medical Mutts to train a dog to be a seizure alert pet, and some of those dogs don't quite make the cut. Medical Mutts adopts those ones out who do not graduate from their program. Now, since Dublin has joined Enemaker, she has been able to start driving again. She's also been able to get a full-time job, and she's planning on moving out on her own in just a few months. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
What a great story, Alyssa. Thank you. It was a rainy day at IMS, but dedicated fans camped out in ponchos to see who would make the final 3 spots in the 103rd Indy 500.
And after the 4-hour rain delay, the fans that stuck around were treated to some drama. Simon Pagenaud grabbed his first Indy 500 pole, but one of the most shocking headlines is about who won't be racing. Formula One champion Fernando Alonso was bumped during the last row shootout. The mega million-dollar McLaren racing team was unable to get into the top 33. After 5 chances on Saturday with one final chance to qualify yesterday, Alonso was bumped on the last run of the shootout by the rookie Kyle Kaiser.
I mean, big picture, Uncos just knocked out McLaren at the Indy 500.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That is crazy, and that just shows what this place is about. Nobody's safe, no matter what your budget is, what your resources are. It takes heart, and I'm not saying they didn't have heart because I know they put everything they had into this as well. But
this team does.
We gave it all we had, and we had the day today.
Kaiser grabbed the last spot on the last row alongside Sage Karam and James Hinchcliffe, who battled his way back in after missing the 500 last year and crashing his car on Saturday. That means Max Chilton and Patricio O'Ward were also bumped out. And as we inch closer to the Indy 500, you may be feeling the need for speed.
Yeah, so that made us ask, what does it take to become an IndyCar driver? Our Erin Lish talked to drivers, and she is live with us this morning with everything you need to know to break into the industry. Hey, Erin.
Good morning. So you mentioned the 33 drivers. They are ready to go, hoping to get that top spot, become the winner of the Indy 500. But how do you even get to that point? This past week, I talked to some of those drivers, and a lot of them started with midget racing and go-karting. Once you start doing that, you can then transfer from go-karting over to cars. That's what driver Spencer Piggott has done, going through what's called the Road to Indy program. They get awarded scholarships each time they move up the ladder, going from USF 2000, then to Indy Pro, then to Indy Lights. That is your last stop. If you're the Lights champion, you're automatically getting a chance to compete in the 500. Piggott says you have to work hard to make your way into IndyCar.
You know, there's drivers from all over the world that come and want to be a part of this and get to IndyCar. So it's definitely not easy, but you know, the ladder support system that they have with the prize money for the champion over here is something that is really attractive and draws a lot of talent.
Pickett is doing well. He'll be in the first row for the starting grid this weekend. Other drivers who did the Road to Indy program include Scott Dixon, James Hinchcliffe, and Tony Kanaan. A lot of these drivers really have to work hard from the feeder series to prove themselves to get sponsors. There are different places you can go, like Indy Race Experience, also Mario Andretti Racing Experience, and then just down the road here is SI Karting. That is where you can start developing your skills and hopefully become an IndyCar driver. Coming up in the next half hour, I have some advice from another driver that you won't want to miss. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. Today is the day IndyCar drivers on the front row for the 500 will take their traditional picture at the track at 7 a.m. Practice for the full 33 drivers starts at noon. Gates open to the public at 11:30 this morning, and tickets cost $15. And Todd, what will the weather be like out at the track later today?
Should be nice out there. Temperatures much cooler with sunshine. Of course, remember, the sun is still strong, so even though those temperatures are cooler, you get sunburned pretty quickly, so make sure you have that sunscreen handy. Temperatures this morning as you walk out the door are in the low to mid 50s across the area with skies that are partly cloudy. The storms from yesterday are now well off towards the east. That is the good news. So we are just dealing with partly cloudy skies here across central Indiana this morning. So as the kids head off to the bus stop, we'll call it partly to mostly sunny with temperature right around 54 degrees. As the kids come home from school, temperatures don't do a whole lot throughout the day today. We'll only go from the mid 50s to right around 65 degrees, but skies do remain mostly sunny. So take advantage of today and the comfortable air mass that's in place. Tomorrow we're still dry, but then we do bring storm chances back for Wednesday and Thursday. As the rain chances go up, so do the temperatures. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Still ahead, a Texas girl back home after her kidnapping was caught on camera. How police tracked her down and what they know about the suspect.
Plus, another dive into the RTV6 archives to celebrate our 70th anniversary. How Kevin Gregory used an IMS legend to bring Hoosiers the forecast. That's coming up next.
Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 5:14. Here's a look at I-465 at Ditch Road. There's some overnight road work going on. Now, just a few minutes ago, there was a backup in this area. Now everything's moving along just fine. I'll keep an eye on this area for you, but stay tuned. I'll have your latest traffic update coming up in just a few minutes.
Elena, thank you. Today, an 8-year-old in Texas is back with her family and a suspect behind bars after she was kidnapped. It happened Saturday night when 51-year-old Michael Webb approached the girl and her mother, who were out walking in their Fort Worth neighborhood. Police say Webb pulled the girl into his car and pushed the mother to the ground. The entire incident was caught on doorbell cameras nearby. 24 hours later, the child was found at a hotel by crews out searching, and Webb was arrested. So far, police have not released a motive for the kidnapping.
An Oregon teenager will be in court today after showing up at his high school with a shotgun on Friday. 18-year-old Angel Granado Diaz was tackled by a football coach who worked as a security guard in the school before anyone was hurt. That coach, Keenan Lowe, believes he was in the right place at the right time.
I feel like, I was put in that room for a reason. The shooter didn't know I was in that room when he opened the door, and I think there's things in my life that have happened that I think have prepared me for that very moment to act.
The teenage student is currently being charged as an adult with reckless endangerment and possession of a firearm.
New pictures of the royal family are out 1 year after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle tied the knot. The couple released the black and white pictures from their wedding to mark their anniversary. We also got a new video from Prince William and Duchess Kate Middleton. It shows the couple with their kids, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. The family was checking out a new garden created by the Duchess where families can spend time together. Very cool. If you're looking to book a summer vacation, the time to buy flight tickets is now.
May has seen some of the cheapest airline tickets in the last 2 years, but those prices will start rising after Memorial Day. Here's how to save some money this summer. Buy tickets midweek. Tuesday afternoon is when prices drop some. Try to fly Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday. Those are typically the cheapest days. And all right, Todd, you just came back from a trip. You said you ran into some rain when you were returning home last night.
Yeah, we were coming into land land, and literally 60 seconds before we land, I could see the rain coming past IMS, and then the plane just hit the gas, and we went around and circled for a while, but eventually we got in. And that was the story. Once we landed, talking to a lot of people at the airport, but there were also a lot of people at the airport trying to get out with flights canceled. So make sure you check with your airlines here this morning, especially if you're heading off towards the east where a lot of those delays were headed. So for today, a new air mass is in place. It's sunny, it's comfortable today with temperatures that are actually going to be a little bit below normal, but the heat and humidity will return in a big time way by the end of the week. And as the heat and humidity returns, so do the storm chances across the area. So we will continue this very unsettled weather pattern. But you have to keep in mind, May on average is the wettest month for the city of Indianapolis throughout the entire year. So I know it's been wet, but certainly it's basically what happens this time of year. 56 degrees, that's the current temperature. The wind's out of the west. That's a good indication that that front is fully through the area, and we're going to start to dry out here at least for today and tomorrow. It's 52 in Lafayette, still holding on to 55 degrees in Richmond as well as Peru, and that 55 is a common number as you work your way south into the Tipton area as well. So Storm Team 6 radar is quiet. We have a little bit of cloud cover, especially to the north, but as soon as the sun comes up, we'll start to burn that cloud cover off, and then as you look further off towards the east, there is that cold front, there's the line of storms. So certainly, again, between the delays and the cancellations from last night and planes maybe not being in place, I already looked, and there's 2 flights to Newark on United that are canceled already this morning. That's probably most likely because of planes that are not in place. So make sure you check with your carrier here this morning. So throughout the day today, we'll toggle between mostly sunny and partly cloudy skies across the area. And then as far as today goes, again, it's just a quiet and decent day for us. It's just not as warm as it has been. So as we work our way throughout the day today, temperatures here will only get up to right around 60 degrees by the noon hour. So you may want to have that light jacket through the noon hour. Then eventually 65 degrees with sunshine later on this afternoon. Now overnight tonight, it gets cool across the area. It's not out of the question. Some areas to the north could get dipped down into the upper 30s across the area. From Indianapolis to the south, temperatures should be in the mid 40s. And then throughout the day tomorrow, temperatures a little warmer than today, into the mid to upper 60s with maybe a stray shower as the warmer air starts to work its way back in tomorrow evening. But as we look ahead in this forecast, here's what I mean by taking advantage of the cooler temperatures the next 2 days. Look what happens Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're going into the upper 80s. Some locations on Friday, potentially 90 degrees. If you don't hit high temperatures in the 90s with the actual readings, everybody's probably going to see heat index values 95 to maybe 105 across the area, especially inside the track on Friday for Carb Day. You probably need to take some appropriate precautions if that is in your plans for Friday, especially if you're sticking around late in the afternoon for the concert. Then as we get into Saturday and Sunday, a front will be in the area. That means some scattered storms, but not a washout, and temperatures in the mid 80s. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-465 at Ditch Road up on the north side. There's some overnight road work underway right now, and it was impacting those eastbound lanes before, but you can see everything's moving along just fine, so you're good to go. But if you are impacted by any backups, you can always use 86th Street as an alternate route. Let's take a look at the map. The northbound lanes of I-65 closed between I-465 on the south side up to the south split, as well as northbound 65 closed between the south split and the north split. So keep that in mind. This should open up within the next 30 minutes or so. But until then, head westbound on 465 to eastbound I-70 downtown. That last exit that's open is the Illinois Street exit. So plan ahead. You can also continue on westbound 465, which turns into northbound 465, and then go northbound or southbound on I-65, depending upon your destination. So just know that this does add significant time to your drive. So if this is part of your commute, leave earlier. Let's take one last look at those roads. Here's I-70 at Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. Everything's moving along just fine. Right now, those roads are dry and a great view of the city for your morning drive.
Elena, thank you. Today, practice continues at IMS with less than a week to go before this year's Indy 500. So for our 70th anniversary broadcast memory, we're going to include the legendary voice of the track, but in a different way.
This morning, it's a Kevin Gregory, Tom Carnegie collaboration.
Whenever we set a record, I would get excited about it. I mean, it's a big deal. So I called Tom Carnegie and I said, Tom, can you record for me a message when we have a record?
And it's a new temperature record.
So I had that from Tom Carnegie. Whenever I could play that, I would. But then there were times that you get an almost record. So I called Tom Carnegie back and I said, listen, there are times when I can't play or it's a new temperature record because we just missed it. Could you record a new one for me?
And it's a new temperature record. Almost.
Tom passed away in 2011.
In addition to being the voice of the track, he was sports director at Channel 6 from 1953 to 1985. Coming up tonight on the news at 6, we're going to stick with that weather theme. Meteorologist David James takes us back to when he arrived in 1980 and talks about the creativity involved in presenting the forecasts for television.
This all leads up to next week when former anchors Clyde Lee and Dion Willis lead us in a 1-hour special, 70 Years Together, RTV6 working for you. Tune in May 30th at 7 p.m. for that special, and you won't want to miss it.
My family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
Still ahead, the graduation announcement that had everyone on their feet before the ceremony ended.
The billionaire covering all student loans for the Morehouse class of 2019. How much he will help pay off to help grads get debt-free. That's coming up.
The Morehouse College class of 2019 waking up debt-free this morning.
Billionaire investor Robert F. Smith announced during his commencement speech he would pay off student loans and any tuition debt. Did you see how surprised that guy was behind him? That gift is estimated to cost around $40 million. For many students, the shock has not worn off.
I think after like 1 minute, I think it was an exact minute, probably a good 30 seconds, I was like, oh. Wait, loans? 91,000? 4 years? Oh, yes. So I was like, yes, sir. Let me get back up. I was like, yes.
This morning, I owed over $100,000 in student loans. And now I'm debt-free.
Many graduates say they are already thinking about ways to pay it forward.
Wow. What a great story. Well, coming up, dozens of southern Indiana homeowners waking up in a shelter this morning after a massive home explosion. What investigators think may have caused the deadly blast, that's coming up.
Working for you. This is Good Morning Indiana. Working for you.
We are less than a week away from the Indy 500 and the field is set.
This morning we're breaking down a dramatic day 2 of qualifying. Plus, the investigation into a home explosion continues in southern Indiana.
New overnight, we've learned what may have caused the deadly blast. Thanks for joining us here on this Monday morning. I'm Nicole Griffin.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen standing by. We had some rainfall late yesterday afternoon. Today, things much more quiet, Todd.
Yeah, that cold front is fully through central Indiana. That is the good news. A new air mass is in place. And as you walk out the door here this morning, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the temperatures. You may want to grab a jacket as we're currently sitting in the 50s. Skies, though, are partly cloudy. A little more in the way of cloud cover this morning to the north compared to southern locations, but you don't see any green on the radar. There's no rain, and that's the way it'll be throughout the entire day today. But the front is now off towards the east. But oh, what a day it was yesterday with the severe weather here in central Indiana. Off to the west, they had some severe weather in eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey as well. So it's that time of year where thunderstorms are disrupting a lot of things across not only here in central Indiana, but much of the country. Here are those temperatures this morning. Most of us in the 50s, still holding on to 60 degrees in Muncie. Now this morning, there's not a ton of warming that's going to take place. We're going to stay in the 50s with partly cloudy skies. So again, the light jacket's probably needed here this morning. Once we get to the afternoon hours, though, temperatures will start to moderate a little bit as we get up to 65 degrees, which is still below average, but you'll be wishing that we stay in the 60s once you see the forecast for the end of the week. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Not much happening right now. Here's a look over on the west side, I-465 at West 21st Street. You can see everything's moving along just fine for your morning drive. Let's take a look down on the south side on our map, though. We have this closure of the northbound I-65 lanes between I-465 and that south split, as well as I-65 between the south split and the north split. This should open up within the next 30 minutes or so. So until it does, head westbound on 465, go to eastbound I-70, or go westbound 465, which turns into northbound, then head northbound or southbound on I-65. That'll get you to your destination. Let's take one last look at those roads. 465 at East 16th 18th Street now. This is over on the east side. You can see everything's moving along just fine and those roads are dry.
All right, Elena, thank you. We are just 6 days away from the greatest spectacle in racing.
This morning, the field of 33 drivers is set following a drama-filled day 2 of qualifying. The big news, racing superstar Fernando Alonso and McLaren not making the field of 33. He was bumped out by Juncos Racing's Kyle Kaiser. In the Fast 9, the fastest run of the day belonging to Simon Pagenaud. He won the Grand Prix race on the road course earlier this month. His final time was 0.07 of a second faster than the rest. This is the first Indy 500 pole of his career. Pagenaud will be joined in the front row by Ed Carpenter and Spencer Pigot. Spencer had the final qualifying run of the day, but was unable to knock Simon from the top spot. The green flag dropped Sunday at 12:19.
And as you see, those drivers hit speeds of more than 200 miles per hour. So how would you feel being behind the wheel?
I think I'd be a little scared.
Very scared.
Well, how do you even make it happen? That's what we want to know.
Our Aaron Lish is live this morning with how you can break into the racing industry. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. So last year, Will Power walked away $2.5 million richer from the 500. That's a pretty good payday. So how do you become an IndyCar driver and have a major win like that? Well, I walked over to the garages this past week and I talked to some of those drivers. They say they started off through karting and then transitioned their way into cars. And many of them are going through the Road to Indy program. Actually, 25 of the 33 starters last year in the 500 were part of this program. They'll start in the USF 2000, then to the Indy Pro 2000. Then the final step is Indy Lights. You'll receive scholarships with each win. Jack Harvey is actually part of that crew. He says it's not an easy road and you need to make sure you're wanting to race for the right reasons.
I think honestly we all start out with the same dream, right? You know, I wanted to go fast and be a racing driver, and I've never lost that along the way. So that's why I encourage most people to try and there's going to be bad days. Those are days you need to remember why I started.
Just down the street here from the track is SI Karting, where you can start developing your skills. That's owned by former driver Sarah Fisher. There are a lot of rookies right now this year from the Indy Lights to the 500. We will hear from one of those former Indy Lights alumni and see how he is feeling about going into the 500. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Aaron, thank you. A Monroe County woman has died following a crash in South Carolina. The crash also involved country music singer Travis Tritt's tour bus. Investigators say a Jeep driving the wrong way near Myrtle Beach crashed into a pickup truck. The crash killed 61-year-old Tonda Cross of Ellettsville and a 25-year-old man from South Carolina. Country music singer Travis Tritt's bus was sideswiped in the collision. Investigators have not announced what caused the crash, but Tritt tweeted drunk driving was involved.
New overnight authorities in Clark County say natural gas may have caused a southern Indiana home to explode. The explosion killed one person and injured 2 others early Sunday morning in Jeffersonville. The home involved was obliterated. Authorities say nearly a dozen other houses were seriously damaged and some may never be lived in again. Jeffersonville fire investigators haven't released the conditions of the 2 people injured.
11 candidates are being considered to be the next superintendent of Indianapolis Public Schools. That's how many people applied for the position, according to the district. Applications are no longer being accepted. School commissioners will meet late this week to review those applications. IPS says the names of the finalists will be announced and interviews will be public.
The number of confirmed mumps cases at IU Bloomington continues to rise. New this morning, school officials report 40 cases of the mumps on the campus. That's 7 new cases since last week. The first case of the mumps was announced back on February 12th. Several of the cases were reported inside a campus fraternity house. The school has since set up a website for the public to learn about the mumps outbreak. You can find a link to the site on the IndyChannel.com by searching mumps.
Your chance to weigh in on Indigo's next rapid transit line will happen this week. Indigo leaders will hold a meeting to discuss the Purple Line tomorrow. The route will connect downtown to Lawrence using Meridian, 38th Street, and Post Road. The Purple Line meeting will be held at the Avondale Meadows YMCA tomorrow night from 5 until 7. The Purple Line is scheduled to start boarding passengers late next year.
Dogs can detect all kinds of odors. They're trained to sniff out drugs, explosives, laxatives, even certain diseases. Now, a study conducted right here in Indianapolis proves dogs can also pick up the scent of an epileptic seizure. Our Alyssa Donovan found out how this is done and how it's changing lives. Hey, Alyssa.
Good morning. So the scent of a seizure is not something you or I could pick up on, but according to this study, a dog can. And what Medical Mutts did is they set out several different cans with one person's scent in all of the cans. Now, one of those cans had the scent of when that person actually had a seizure. The dog was able to pick that scent out from the bunch, and due to that, they're starting to train more dogs to really detect these seizures. Now, Medical Mutts has been training dogs to detect seizures for a long time. Olivia Enemaker has been with her seizure dog for 2 years. The 24-year-old has epilepsy, and on average, she'll experience 3 or 4 seizures a week. Since training her dog, Dublin, at Medical Mutts, she now gets an alert from him about a minute before a seizure starts. The owner of Medical Mutts says they train the dogs to alert their owners in a very specific way.
We wanted as a way to alert the person that was distinguishable from other behaviors. So dogs don't naturally bump you with their nose. So we wanted something that was very different than, you know, pawing at you for attention or barking at the person.
Now, along with alerting their owners a seizure is coming, many of the dogs are also trained to press emergency buttons, fetch medicine, and even flip their owners to lay on their side depending on the type of seizure that person experiences. Now, many of the dogs that are trained at Medical Mutts are rescues from around the area. However, they will train your dog if you do have seizures depending on that dog's age. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Graduation ceremonies will be held today in Colorado, less than 2 weeks after a deadly shooting. Still ahead this morning, how the school will remember one of the graduates killed by the gunfire. Elena.
And here's a look at 465 at Michigan Road up on the north side. So this is the east view. So you can see those eastbound lanes slowed down just a bit because of that overnight road work I've been telling you about up around Ditch Road and US 31. So keep that in mind if this is part of your drive. Time now is 5:40. You're watching RTV6. Stay with us.
Power. Switch to Pure 24/7 today.
It's been less than 2 weeks since 2 attackers injured 8 students and killed 18-year-old Kendra Castillo. Castillo died trying to subdue one of the attackers.
The 18 and 16-year-old suspects face nearly 50 charges, including murder and attempted murder. Today's ceremony will be held at the Denver Broncos Training Center. It is 5:43. Hail, heavy rain, strong winds and tornadoes are again targeting the plains and Midwest today and into tomorrow. Almost 40 tornadoes have been reported since Friday morning. Another system is developing off the high plains and is expected to move eastward. Today marks 6 years since an EF5 tornado ravaged Moore, Oklahoma. More than 24 people were killed in that twister that clocked wind speeds at more than 210 miles per hour. And we want to get a check at our weather here at home. Thankfully, things calm after a bit of a rainy day yesterday, Todd.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough afternoon and evening yesterday with that cold front that went through. We had the thunderstorm watch and then numerous tornado warning, or one tornado warning, numerous thunderstorm warnings. In fact, those thunderstorm warnings stretched really across the entire state. It's much more comfortable air mass this morning and quiet air mass. That is the good news. 56 degrees. That's the current temperature. Sunrise here this morning is at 6:27. So skies going to start to brighten here shortly across the area, and temperatures anywhere you go with the exception of Muncie is in the 50-degree range. Muncie's sitting right at 60 degrees, but it's 56 in Bloomington, 52 in Lafayette, 53 is the current temperature as you make your way down into the Rushville area. So our winds are out of the west, right? So that's the direction the wind is coming from, and you look off to the west and you notice the temperatures are cooler. 49 in Kansas City, 34 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Now we're not going to go into the 30s 30s. But by tomorrow morning, almost all of us are in the 40s across the area. But the point where I mentioned the wind is coming from the west because the temperatures are cooler. There's just not a whole lot of warming that's going to take place here throughout the day today. So it's a cooler day for us, but it's going to be an enjoyable day since it's dry and skies will be partly cloudy across the area. In fact, there's a little more in the way of cloud cover to the north. You notice this one band has been making its way southward this morning, now through Muncie as well as Indianapolis. Clear skies still in Bloomington. So we'll just kind of toggle between mostly sunny and partly cloudy today. The line of storms from yesterday is off towards the east, but you look to the west and you do notice there is more in the way of rain and even some snow there in and around the Denver area here this morning. So today we're dry across the area. There could be a stray shower in extreme northern Indiana. Should not affect us here in central Indiana, though, with those partly cloudy skies. And then this evening, we really start to cool off quite quickly across the area. So for today, temperatures struggle to warm much at all. We'll only get up to right around 60 degrees by the noon hour. And then high temperatures today will get up to 65. But again, it's a pleasant day for us tomorrow morning. I mentioned those cooler temperatures. Everybody's in the 40s. You definitely need to have the jacket come tomorrow morning. And then throughout the day tomorrow, we're looking at probably a little more in the way of cloud cover. Temperatures in the mid-60s still. And even though that's still 10 degrees below normal, look what happens as we head into the latter half of the week. We return to the 80s on Wednesday. Then the real heat and humidity is in place as we head into Thursday and Friday. Friday, many areas potentially 90 degrees. You factor in that humidity, and it's going to make you feel like at least the mid-90s. Some heat index values likely Friday afternoon will be over 100 degrees. And of course, that is carve day at the track. So make sure you have plenty of water and sunscreen as you make your way out there. And then for the weekend, including race day, there will be some scattered storms in the forecast, it looks like at this point, with a temperature of 84. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Couple things to pay attention to that just came up on our map. So we have this crash at Harding Street at I-70. Dispatch confirms that an IMPD officer is involved with this crash and was injured, but is in good condition. So we'll keep you updated on this crash as we learn more information. Up on this northwest side, the right two lanes are blocked on southbound I-465 at I-65, and that's because of a crash. We can see this one on our live in.traffic camera. So let's take a look at that right now. You can see on the bottom part those flashing lights. So crews are on the scene, but again, it's those left two lanes that are blocked. Traffic appears to be moving through just fine for your morning drive, so it shouldn't be too much of a delay if this is part of your drive. But now we're going to send things to our day first for a sports update.
Go, go, Garfield. In this installment of Two for the Road, we've got the 2004 Series champ, 2013 Indy 500 champion, and a 17-time winner in the NTT IndyCar Series. We're talking about Tony Kanaan, who loves a good pastry.
Two for the Road, sponsored by Indiana Farmers Insurance.
Nice ride.
Huh? What do you think?
I call an Uber.
Do you like the kitty cat on the side? Garfield?
Garfield. I know. My kids will love this car. Can I have it for the month?
Your given name is
Antoine. Riscala Kanaan Filho, which is Junior. I have my dad's name.
TK is much shorter.
It's a lot simpler to say. And actually, Dan Weldon was the one that brought the TK on the data for the race car. When we print the data, they just put your initials. So he was DW, I was TK, so he started TK, and became TK.
Could you imagine being in an autograph line and having to sign your given name?
No, but that was something that Dad, I was 8 when I started racing, so my dad said, listen, we have a long name. I said, well, that's your fault. No, it's my dad's fault. I said, well, but he gave it to me. He made me practice my autograph when I was 9 years old, which is still the same as of today.
Wow.
So, it was Tony Kanaan.
Biggest cheers at Indy still happen when you go to the front.
I love it. I can't hear it, but I love it.
It's pretty special.
I mean, driver's intro is pretty special for me. I got to thank the fans. We built an awesome fan base here. Pretty cool.
If and when fortunate enough to win Indy again, that you would do something that you didn't get a chance to do in 13.
A celebration needs to be natural.
Right.
I don't look back at 13 and say, oh, I should have celebrated this way or that way. It has to be something that comes out when you're in the moment. I will definitely have my kids there this time, and I will celebrate with them. Have you been here, dude?
No, you've been here before, right?
Yeah, I'm friends with them. When we promoted Rev, we came here, and such a cool place.
This place is fantastic.
You gotta taste some of this stuff.
Look at all this.
This is our signature, the chocolate pillow. This was the first dessert that...
This is called a chocolate pillow?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a big bite. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Be ready for a nap after this. Chocolate pillow, I'm gonna go to my pillow. Then I'm gonna take a nap. Good luck on race day, buddy.
Thank you.
Guys, come check it out. Tony Kanaan, 2 for the road here on RTV6.
Visit batteriesplus.com.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 5:53. Here's a look at I-65 at I-465. There's some lane restrictions in the southbound 465 lanes because of a crash. You can see it in the bottom left corner of your screen. So if this is part of your drive, just be aware.
Elena, thank you. Before you head out the door, it's time for the Trending 6.
These are some of the stories that everyone is sharing online and you'll want to know about.
Starting with Avengers Endgame finally shut down at the weekend box office. That's because John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum blasted into theaters, earning $57 million to take the top spot. Avengers Endgame finally lost the top spot, but it made $29.4 million, so not doing too terrible. That puts it at $771 million overall, passing Avatar for number 2 all time.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is okay after getting kicked in the back while he was in South Africa. Arnold was there for the multi-sport Arnold Classic Africa. Security dragged the man who kicked him away as the man screamed, "I need a Lamborghini." Arnold said he will not press charges against the man. Oh, wow.
Very bizarre. Is Peyton Manning returning to football? Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk says the New York Jets are interested in possibly bringing Manning in to be their next general manager. Manning has no front office experience, but he has had history with Jets head coach Adam Gase. He was Manning's offensive coordinator with the Denver Broncos.
I hope not. Come here, Manning. The sons of 2 San Jose Sharks players hoping their smooth dance moves will help their dads advance in the Stanley Cup playoffs. During a break in play, River Thornton, son of Joe Thornton and Jagger Burns, whose dad is Brent Burns, were caught on camera showing off their dancing skills. Unfortunately, the dancing did not help as the Ducks lost to the Blues 5-0.
9 heroic cops being honored for lifting a car off of a crash victim in Canada. The man became pinned under the vehicle last year after being hit and was struggling to breathe. A group of officers lifted the vehicle for nearly 2 minutes while he was pulled away. The video was released in connection with National Police Week. Awesome.
It is finally over. Last night was the series finale for Game of Thrones. No spoilers here this morning, but it was so emotional. A lot of people apparently are skipping work today, or at least showing up late to recover. Do we have any fans here? I'm not. Are you guys?
No.
I didn't think so.
I've never seen one episode.
I haven't either.
And didn't that just start? That was like 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Yes, it was a short season. Yep. All right.
Well, we're
let's
all
chat
here this
weather.
morning.
Yeah. All right, that I do know something about. Temperatures this morning are in the 50s across the area. 55 in Bloomington, 54 in Indianapolis. Radar quiet this morning, and that's the good news. It's a dry day for us. It's just not one of the warmest days for us, so that's not terrible considering where we're going to get later in the week with the heat and humidity building back in. So today, mostly sunny skies. We are drying out. It'll be a good opportunity for you to get out and about, maybe mow the yard, which you couldn't do yesterday with all the rain that we had, and then pleasant temperatures with that high of 65 degrees. But by the end of the week, we are approaching 90. More on that coming up in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. Crooks make off with a local man's motorcycle. Ahead at 6, how the homeowner is hoping this surveillance video can help him get his bike back.